Welcome back, everybody, to your regularly scheduled creative carpentry projects, because I, for one, have had enough of the ordinary. I did forget, because it's been a few months, to kind of cover the project's start point before I got into it, so sorry about that. But if you can imagine, if you're the type of person that watches my videos, maybe you can imagine some of this as I explain it to you, and you don't need to see it. I don't know what that means, but there, I said it. I got a ladder rack, got the name on the truck, got some nice contractor signs this year, got some apparel coming. If you want to rock a Technically Magic Effects t-shirt, we can talk about that at a later time. But anyway, picking up where we left off of our typical type of project, we're taking some walls out of our customer's house. We're actually just across the creek from our place. It's a nice job site being so close. You may be able to see you know, as this downspout comes into the plumb edge of the fence here. We're in a mid-1800s home that has been here obviously a really long time. We've got some nice backyard action and a really $1 million view of the creek out back. But the main problem for my client now is that she'd like to do artwork and have more light in this room. Don't mind this. She had some natural light over there, but it's just a big dead wall here, and it had her kind of, you know, it wasn't working for her. And this is the other room here, and the front room of the house, obviously behind us. The wall between them, we want to open up, and we're going to put pocket doors in, and we're actually going to then, you know, delete, or we're going to finish through here so that this doorway doesn't exist anymore. So then you get more options for furniture, to, you know, your sofa position, your chair, to the television. Right now the back of her living room was a giant doorway, a stairwell which doubles as a hallway really, and so now she'll have some more flexibility there. And in the removal of this wall, we're going to cover this HVAC, this hot air stack, which, you know, there was no option. This house is so old. You can see how it's framed here. Well, framed. These are, you know, solid wood walls or plank walls. So rather than our studs standing in there like this, they're random slabs of lumber of varying width, but all basically around about the same thickness. So the wall is about the same, stood in there vertically, and you can see this here. Plaster lath, which I'm sure you've heard. It's not lath, it's lath. And so you can see this random stick here. There's this one coming from above. There's more of a 6-inch one here, a 3. Then we jumped over there. We had a 6-inch one here. We had something more like 14 here. We had something, you know, it's 7 or 8 in there, and then this stick coming down. It's just a hodgepodge. Oh, and we dead end them together too if we feel like it. Here we go about as far as we can. And then we start and go some more. It makes, you know, that's the kind of situation you have. Of course, it gains strength when you cover it with plaster and lath and everything, but you know, the lath would normally give that strength if it went on by. But these, I didn't cut this I cut. You can see this was the aged edge of these, so then that new lath started right there, right on this marriage here, which just served to weaken that. And it just kind of, despite all of the fine fiddle work in creating a wall like this, they kind of just threw whatever they had together. And there had been a doorway here, so we found some drywall and you know, as a patch in there. And now we'll go back into the lath, but we're opening it up. There's nice thin, you know, 1.25 inch, 1.5 inch hardwood on both sides of the room here, but it goes along with the wall that we're gonna have, so we can easily make a threshold repair when we get there. We are gonna remove the entire wall, then we'll frame an appropriate, you know, conventionally you know, constructed wall that will let us put pocket doors in it. We started by thinking we may have pocket doors that go in either direction, but she actually liked the largest possible opening. We're gonna look at taking both slabs in one direction so they pass, which will mean the wall that we build will have to maybe even be, I believe I looked at the supplier, and they'll need to be a 2x8 framed wall to accommodate 2 slabs and everything else. So it may be a thicker conventionally framed wall that we put in here, but taking both slabs in this direction will mean that you can have a 6-foot opening here. Whereas if you try to put a 6-foot opening and take the slabs in either way, there isn't enough room over here to go. And this, you know, can't start any further back than this, because we're going to encapsulate this with a built-in cabinet. it'll look really nice and have a lot of utility. And much like the sink base cabinets in your home, under the sink directly, the drawer face that's there, isn't real, and there's no room in there. There'll be some sort of door or something here that's faux, because of course when you open this there wouldn't be any room inside. But it'll clean up the look of this. And over here, she had this lovely idea. Once the doorway is gone, we're going to fly in an upper sort of cabinet up here that sort of works like shadow boxes, and maybe even put some light in there, some lights in there, so there can be decor and stuff, and the sofa can come in underneath, and that'll go right over this. And again, the last door, will be a faux kind of a door, and it'll just be because, that stuff's in there. We're gonna kill a bunch of birds with the same kind of stone here. There were 2 corner built-ins in this room, so that's why the hardwood floor stops at a triangle like this. We won't need to fix that up in this case. In the other case, we may build a little sister cabinet that echoes, what's going on here, just to cover that up too, to kind of make our lives easier. But what we first needed to do was, normally when you have a long, thin home like this, you have a longitudinal main beam, and all of your joists come over to it from the outside wall, almost like ribs to the backbone, and that's fairly conventional, and that's because your ridge, you can normally find your main carrying beams because they're aligned to the ridge. This house was a square originally, and actually the main beam of that original square came through here, and so the joists run out in this direction and in this direction, and then this was added on. So if we go in the basement, we can see how we chose to kind of make sure that we were safe and that the ceiling wasn't going to fall on our heads. This is fairly typical. You may have seen, depending on where in the world you are watching from. I'm sorry that we haven't, maybe put a little light on the subject here. So, for example, they must have had a sagging problem here. I'm standing aligned at 90 degrees, and this thing kind of runs through here at an angle from a couple newer lolly columns here to another over there, stood on a kind of a block. Then we've got this tree sans bark, or maybe old telephone pole, under a conglomeration here, and another couple pair of timbers here. This one quite rotten, and it's fairly, again, like I say, status quo. This beam comes through and was giving them such trouble. To start with, this looks like it goes to nothing. So they got under it with an I-beam here that's standing on some stones, and it goes to this lolly column here, and then it goes over there, which this must have been the door to the outside. So there's an I-beam across, the foundation wall edges as a bridge, and then they got this I-beam on this here, and then a beam, and this has been spray foamed. The plate has been spray foamed. So to a certain degree, despite the fact that it's very mixed media, there have been some improvements, and somebody that wants to go pretty hardcore in the future can get underneath this appropriately and take all of this kind of janky stuff out and get more correct with the orientation of everything if they so choose. New furnace, and here's the base of our hot air stack going right up. And basically, as you can see, just to the one side, there's the main beam that's no longer main, but comes through there, and all of our joists are going through like this. They did come through underneath this, because we had some problems with sagging there, and there's a variety of different. It's kind of difficult to appreciate major and minor, or primary, secondary, tertiary construction, because these components are all weird sizes. We don't buy 3x5 or 3x6 timber anymore. So anyway, the point is, we came down and we investigated and we established there was no electricity other than one circuit in this wall, and we found him. He goes right along here and right there up through some foam. He goes right into the wall. So we got in here, we checked to make sure that was giving us a chirp on our tester that it was hot, and then we hit breakers until it went dead, and we tested again. Now we know we're not going to go cutting along and find any electricity in this wall, and we're not going to dump anything on our head, and so we can go to town here. And originally, we tried not to go HV or HGTV style and make a bunch of pieces and hit everything with. Oh, look at the stuff in the air you can see in the camera. Make a bunch of pieces and dust. It ended up becoming necessary, other than the drywall comes out in nice big chunks. So we're going to continue till this is completely gone. And then the name of the game being don't make a mess of anything else. Just destroy this wall and cart it out of here. And try and do it between today and tomorrow. So when we're through with that, we'll come back and look and see how things are shaping up. All right, we'll see you.